Virgo, welcome to your energy reading. It's my pleasure to read for you. As you know, these readings are timeless and signless, so you don't have to have, any significant Virgo placements for these messages to be for you, and you don't have to be watching at the time that I'm publishing it for the messages to be for you. If it resonates, then, hey, chances are it's for you. Use your own discernment because you are an adult, okay? If you don't find it resonates, I would take a step back, come back maybe a little later, see if the messages are more clear and if they are resonating then. And if so, then yay! Right? If you'd like to work more personally with me, you know exactly where to find me. Just go ahead and look for the Etsy link on the page that you're watching. All right, let's jump right into this reading. That's interesting because immediately two cards fell out, and they both kind of fell out. Well, you saw that 1 minute 1 second 0101. They both fell out like this, and it's interesting because the interpretation that I'm kind of getting is like, if there was something that you were saying, if you were perceiving of blockages, like don't do this or don't do that or you shouldn't do that, or advice or warnings or advisories, maybe you may have been perceiving it wrongly. What I'm getting. Chances are those weren't your guides saying something. So what we're seeing here is discernment, right? Remember that discernment is one of the best things. No wonder I felt like I needed to say that. I said use your discernment because you're an adult. I was like, when I said that, I was like, where did that come from? But it's good advice. This is a discernment issue. If you're like me, the eternal child, I'm always feeling like, oh, I need to ask permission for something, or I need to understand everything fully before I do, we were human beings. We've grown up. We've had a lot of experiences, and it makes sense that we would be at a place in our lives where we would get trepidation or apprehension before making new moves or making decisions, because guess what? The first point of reference that we have is our past experience. And sometimes we may forget those experiences at the conscious mind level, or may at the conscious mind level not be able to really feel the gravity of that moment again, but the body definitely knows. The psyche, the subconscious, all of that, it knows. And so we'll be pumping the brakes, things will be popping up. And because we, and when I say you, I mean we, because these messages are for me too. But when you look out into the world, everything that you interpret, you don't see anything as it really is. You only see your own images of what you think something is presenting as, literally projected out of your chakras and onto the blank waves of light, and that's what you perceive of as form. For example, you're perceiving of me waving my hand at you. You're perceiving of me being a different person from you because you carry a core belief in separation. But the truth is we're actually one. So literally, we can kind of get closer. We can form a more tangible, idea of that, what I just said, by saying something like, oh, I represent the part of you that wants to give you this message. For example, that is something people would be like, oh, okay, I guess that. A part of you is secretly agreeing with me, and that's why you're receiving it when I tell you it. Otherwise, you would just dismiss it, right? That's closer for us to believe than to believe we're actually the same source. We're actually the same thing. It's so inconceivable because your core belief in separation is too big. Anyway, so what I'm trying to say is some of you, they're highlighting separation. Some of you, and everybody, some of you come from families where separation was huge. In big ways. You weren't accompanied in moments that you needed, moments where you needed to co-regulate and to learn how to self-regulate through that co-regulation. It wasn't there. You couldn't even learn to self-regulate through observing others in your space self-regulating. And on top of that, then you had family members, parents, grandparents, aunts, uncles, whatever, who were divorcing left and right, arguing like cats and dogs, separating. They didn't sleep in the same beds, and they didn't, right? And I know some people do sleep in separate beds for different reasons. And again, remember, it's not the action, it is the motivation behind it. You can sleep in separate beds and still love each other, just like you can sleep in the same bed and hate each other. But long story short, when you have a history filled with these kinds of experiences, is it any surprise that today, as you live your life, God bless you, as you live your life, is it any surprise that you would project, this is the P word, project onto anybody that comes to you, anything that happens in your life, a certain interpretation that is completely founded and premised upon your, belief, your experiences? So my question to you is, do you have room for a new way of seeing? Can you see differently? And you know what? You can see differently. So that's not really the question. The question is, are you willing to see differently? And once you say yes and you really mean it, Spirit is going to come in and really start to shake things up. Doesn't have to be a bad way. It's just going to be pointing things out to you so that you can see things in a different way. Because the problem is not with the world. The problem is how you are viewing it. And you're viewing it based on core beliefs that you have. And the problem with those core beliefs is that they're not love-based. They're fear-based. And they all stem from an inadequacy wound, a lack of worth wound. It's a worthiness wound. So guess what happens when Spirit comes in? Oh, look, alchemy, yep. When Spirit comes in, that's when it's time to do healing. Yeah, look at this, fragmentation. This is the healing work that needs to be done. Whenever we talk about healing, I swear, it doesn't matter what you're healing in the physical, your body, cancer, whatever it is. It all boils down to a non-physical belief. It's a subconscious belief that you're not good enough. Now, I know a lot of people struggle to see the connection between the non-physical and very, very, very grave physical things. And of course you wouldn't see it because it's not taught to you. The absolute opposite is taught to you in this world through the institutions, through your own physicality, through your religions, through whatever people around you who don't understand this stuff tell you. So of course you're going to feel your limitations being within the body, and you're going to see your problems and your ailments and all of this, and even the accidents. You're going to limit the causes to something in the physical. Nothing in the physical occurs without first occurring without first having a root source in the non-physical, and it's period with a T at the end. And fragmentation is what occurs when we have core beliefs that are not loving. When you have unloving core beliefs like I'm not good enough, I've been abandoned, when you have these deeply embedded core beliefs that are following you lifetime through lifetime through lifetime, only to be reinforced by the soul curriculum that you have and by the societies that you choose to, incarnate into, and you have been in different societies. Some of them hate each other. You're just playing two sides of the fence, right? Because of all of that, what you're doing is you're further dividing your reality. You're further dividing the truth. You're further dividing your soul. In a sense, not chopping up your soul. You're blocking yourself off from seeing who you are. This is why we call these blockages. They're shadows. You're denying parts of yourself. That's a better way of saying it. That's why whenever we talk about healing, we are really actually talking about soul integration. And that's why many Native American cultures will think of the worst offense that could happen to a person as being soul loss. Bits and pieces of your soul are left. That's why you have to have soul retrieval, things like that, calling back these energetic parts of you that were so denied, or there was so much trauma that they broke off. Sometimes they're still hanging around in your energy field, and come see me, we'll work it out, we'll bring it back into the fold, we talk about it, you acknowledge it, the energy starts to alchemize, right? All sorts of stuff. And then when it's really bad, it leaves your entire energy field altogether. Sometimes it's, you have soul fragments stuck on different planets somewhere, different timelines, all sorts of places. So that's why you have to have shamanic work, because shamans travel through space and time to receive these fragments. If you want to reach out, you know exactly where to find us. We've got great shamans on the team here. So, spirit team. So always remember that the only thing standing between you and you actually having soul integration, having right perception, healing your life, healing your body, all of these things, is your willingness to see what's going on. 10 minutes, 10 seconds. Are you willing to see what the issues are? The very reason why you're not seeing is because on some level, understandably, because of the fear, you are not willing to look at certain things. That's the denial, okay? And that's why shadow work, I talk about it all the time, is so important, because literally the purpose of that work is to look at yourself. The greatest fear that anyone has is their own fear of being the thing they fear the most. But you see that all of that is unfounded because you do not know what really is. So imagine if you only have an idea. Let's do a little quick work here. Imagine if you are aware of A, B, C, and D, and let's throw an E in your life. So you're seeing these 5 things, and based on what you know to be true, 11 minutes, 11 seconds, of these 5 things, you have deduced, you have concluded that you are A, B, C, D, F, whatever. You've made conclusions about yourself that are so strong and then reinforced by other people, or sometimes other people have ideas about you based on what's going on in their life, and that overpowers what you thought that was going on. So you see how messy it is? But at the end of the day, you're basing it off of what you think you know. But I'm here to tell you, you don't actually know anything. And not just you, me too. You don't know. You can't see these. Some things, most things actually, most things you cannot even perceive. You can't even perceive it because you don't have the faculties are not even there. Your third eye is so offline. Your chakras are closed. You've been conditioned out of believing any of this actually makes sense. Oh, it's so woo-woo, right? You're so unable to see anything. And then with the diets that you're eating, the shows that you're watching, the trauma that you haven't looked at, how can you make any assessment about your value based on that? So long story short, incomplete vision, and on top of that, false vision is what you rely upon to make identities of who you are. And then to deter, and that identity that you have made for yourself, you're not even fully conscious of it. Some people say, oh, I'm such a flirt. I this, and I love guys. But their identity, because that's who they think they are. But really, when we look at them, oh, actually, you hate men. It's right there. It's all, and then when you show them how they move throughout their life and all the evidence pointing up, they're like, oh yeah. Because your identity is that you're someone who doesn't do well with men. You're someone that always gets hurt when men are around. These are the deeply embedded things. And then you go even deeper and you will find deeper beliefs. I'm someone who can't be appreciated by men because I'm garbage. And men are actually more important. They're the authority, like my dad, and he didn't have time for me. So you see, and then it goes deeper and deeper. And eventually it goes back to the same original problem that everybody has. And that is the false belief that God abandoned them. We're just living one huge abandonment wound. And so my thing to you is, no matter what you think you're seeing in this world and having and this and that, I want you to stop and reflect. How much of what I'm making myself out to be is a product of love, and how much of it is a product of my false beliefs in my unworthiness? And until you get it, you're going to get it when you realize, oh shoot, I'm not seeing anyway because of all my conditioning. And in fact, I'm seeing myself as really crappy in some places. I would love to see more of who I am, but I don't know what that is because I can't see it. So surrender, please. Spirit, universe, God, show me who I am. And that is the beginning of a beautiful friendship. Because then you get to allow, without clamming up and being afraid, you allow Spirit to start to show you through the people around you, through your life experiences, through miracles, right? Who you are and what your purpose is. but don't for 1 second believe that you know what that is already. So since you don't know what that is, so stop judging yourself. And when you get into that place of self-acceptance, you will see a different world altogether. Bing.